Hi everyone, this is CricketSong with Lunar Wisdom, and today's video is going to be discussing what is a familiar and how does a witch work with one.
This video is brought to you by the generous donations from viewers like you.
So first of all, I do want to point you in the direction of a video I have discussing familiars, power animals, and totem animals, I think, or animal allies. I'm not sure what I titled it, but I do have a video discussing these animals that witches work with. But I specifically want to take the time to answer these questions. So the first one is, what is a familiar? Well, in a nutshell, in a short definition, a familiar is a spirit or spiritual entity that a witch will work with or is associated with a witch. Now, I personally feel that familiars pick the witch does not pick the familiar, but this is just my belief and my understanding of the situation. Now, it is a familiar spirit. It is a spiritual entity. This is not a physical person. This familiar spirit or familiar entity can manifest in a physical form. And what I mean by that is my cat, Alchemy, he is my familiar. However, his spiritual essence is not associated, well, it is associated with his body, but the spiritual essence within Alchemy is the spiritual reincarnation of a former familiar spirit that I worked with before, which took a physical form of my cat, Bandit. However, it is not necessarily that physical form that I'm working with, but the spiritual entity that is sort of housed within my animal, my Alchemy. Now, why I'm discussing this is because witches can have a familiar that is not necessarily housed within a physical animal or plant. The spirit could be contained within a non-living vessel, like a stone, although some would disagree and say a stone is a living vessel, or perhaps a statuary. So a witch may have a familiar spirit that is sort of contained or haunting a non-physical item. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? So, how does the familiar aid a witch, was the next question. So a familiar spirit aids the witch in helping with a raising of energies. The witch can ask or request the familiar spirit to do errands in the non-physical realm for the witch. The familiar can do whatever is required or asked or suggested to aid the witch in a non-physical way. So, for example, in the physical realm, I have my athame that I use, my wand, my cauldron, my bell, all these physical, my crystal ball, my cards. All these things are physical tools. The familiar works with the witch in the non-physical realms and is able to aid the witch with their magic, whether it's rituals, whether it's spells, whether it's divination, whatever it is that the witch is doing in the non-physical realm in an energetic sense, the familiar can and will aid the witch. But again, keep in mind that the familiar is a spiritual entity, and if the familiar's goal or agenda is different from the witch, then the familiar may not do the witch's bidding. But it's my experience that I have had a relationship with my familiar that is pretty much aligned so that our goals are basically the same thing. Now, how can you find, the question was, how can I find my familiar? Again, like I started out this video, I don't feel as if the witch finds their familiar, but the familiar finds the witch. And this is the same sort of relationship or finding that I feel our matron and patron gods and goddesses do. I did not go out and seek my matron or patron. My matron or patron and patron called me into service. So once I, as a witch, put out a request, you know, I am desiring a teacher, I'm desiring a mentor, I'm desiring to work with a god or goddess, I'm desiring to work with a familiar. Once I put that call out, when the time is right, when the situation is ripe for that which I call to manifest, then that is what happens. So I feel like, you know, witches don't go and pick their familiars choose them. And I really feel as if personally it's very much an honor to have a familiar choose me, or a god or goddess choose me, or a teacher or mentor choose me, because I don't know, that's just the way I feel. Hopefully that answers the question that the viewer subscriber submitted to me, and as always, I love you. Mwah.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to share it with others on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This way you won't miss any of my newly uploaded videos. And be sure you've connected with me on Facebook, either through my CricketSong fan page, Lunar Wisdom business page, or by joining the Sacred Circle.